At the grassroots level is where we get truly serious about building solutions by and for the 99%. What we do is for the rest of us, the people around us, our neighbors and friends and family, the local geography we all share and care about. I've worked with community level solutions of one sort or another since the early 90s. This is where my experience lies, and this is where my passion lies. So in my experience, working with a community is achievable. It's community level work. And in my biased opinion, it's like that Goldilocks just right. It's not so big that you feel powerless, like you can't do anything visible, but it's not so small that you feel insignificant or meaningless. It creates a peer group. It unites people around a cause. When you work with a circle of friends, there's a peer encouragement to continue down the path, which makes it easier when that path deviates from the business as usual that mainstream society might be doing. In a peer group, you hear feedback from the others. It feels personal and fulfilling. Working with community-centric solutions grows acceptance. As the great turning progresses, big change is inevitable. Change this big means that everyone will need to change their lifestyle habits. We might as well start now. Community level change is bigger. With a community, you can accomplish more change than as an individual. For instance, a group of people reducing their carbon emissions pulls that much more greenhouse gases out of the atmosphere than if one person did it. And that grows hope. Community-centric solutions are accessible. Working with a group of friends is immediately accessible to most people. It's achievable and you feel accomplished. It can be tactile. Community-level projects are often physical. You can see the results. They're visible and often tactile, and this is thrilling. It really feels like you're accomplishing something. It can also build a constituency for any political action that might be necessary, so that government representatives have to go where their voters go. And community-centric solutions provide an example. When one group changes, for example, one school builds a garden, other similar groups see it and want to try it. And when this happens, it feels like cumulative change. You really feel like you've started the ball rolling in a serious direction. It helps build your local safety net, and it's empowering. It gives people something to do rather than feel defeated in the face of huge problems like climate change. Now, one could argue that community-level action is where the lion's share of invention around the Great Turning is happening. It's where people trial the application of different energy descent ideas. When we look at grassroots action in terms of the permaculture flower, different grassroots projects operate in different petals. A lot of permaculture projects seem to operate in land and agriculture. Farms working with the ideas of regenerative agriculture are also working in land and agriculture. So are community gardens. Something like a time banking community is working in the finance and economics petal. Intentional communities are operating primarily with social structures, so the culture and education petal. However, these communities often work with innovative buildings, reversing consumerism, and sometimes urban food and water issues. Something like bicycle co-ops are working within tools and technology and perhaps built environment. Organizations like Pioneers or Story of Stuff are focusing on the educational petal. Herbalism circles are focusing on the health petal. Joanne Macy's work that reconnects and the Awakening the Dreamer network are working on a shift in consciousness within the spiritual well-being petal. A lot of political activism is going on in the governance petal, and the international transition towns could begin in any petal, and they certainly build working groups in many petals, but the transition towns concept generally applies to all the petals as a whole, as an overview. So I think you'll find that the community level approach often begins with a focus in one particular petal to solve one particular problem. However, as their work continues, it expands outward into a more universal approach.